Well, hello there, every friend. 'Tis I, the Crocomire of Cyan, and this right here is a video of me drawing Adventure Ennard and Adventure Molten Freddy, which are the next speed edit I'm going to do. As I mentioned in the Springtrap video, these were two that I was going to need to actually plan out, and by plan out I meant this. And I figured I might as well record it just to see, or just because, in case someone wants to know, you know, how I work. And if I do need to do planning, this is how I do it. I sketch it out first, and then I actually do. So I'm going to try and explain some of my choices here, pretty much what's going on. I'll go into details later. And yes, I know that the camera angle and camera quality is rather meh. In fact, less than meh. But, I'll touch on that too. Anyway, so as you can see, we're drawing Ennard. I kept the face proportions mostly the same. I shrunk in the ears a little bit. That's about all I did, though. It isn't until later in the drawing that things start to really change with Ennard, and I feel like that's going to take a lot of explanation. Since I don't seem to do things the same way as everyone else. Yeah, right here. So, Ennard has about 6 or 7 wires sort of coiled around that button, and I did 4. Now, like I said, I'll go into specifics later, but pretty much all you need to know, well, 4 on each side, 7 on each side, that's what I was meaning, is that because Adventure animatronics are less detailed than their normal versions, I don't think I need to have the same amount of wires. I think I should have substantially less. You can see this with a lot of things, like Withered Chica, how her, what used to be her hands are now just 2 wires instead of, very long collections of 10 or so wires each. Yeah, anyways, so I just did the hips and sort of sketched out the legs. I put the eye, started putting on the excess eyes. I did the sort of midsection, like the stomach area, just straight, again, with less details. And the arms, I haven't done the details on the limbs yet, but, what you'll see is that I give them sort of this spiral texture, instead of sort of the, you know, like, how am I trying to say this? Sort of like the sporadic and random nature of Ennard's wires. I made them just sort of spirals. Now, the reason I did this is, of course, the lack of detail, but also to contrast with Molten Freddy, who's a lot looser looking, and he is going to have those sporadic details. And, you can see how I do that in the speed edit when it comes out. The leg, like the bear leg, I decided not to go with rings, I just sort of did lines, because I don't really care. Also didn't do that many of them. And the feet, I just tried to do Ennard's feet less detailed. I still had little hooks on the side, and I have the really long main toes. Also, the hands, I decided to just make regular hands instead of his sort of wire hands. Though I did sort of remove joint lines on them. And then here we go, adding in all the excess wires. That's, you know, something that I definitely need to keep, else it'll sort of detract from the character. That's the thing. If it's a detail that if I don't include will detract from the character, I'm gonna put it in. So like certain scratches or whatever, sometimes I'll gloss over those on characters. But if it's something major, like Ennard's wires or whatever, yeah, I'll keep those in. It'll be a bit difficult to make, but I'll keep them in. And here I go adding just a little bit of textures to like the neck and teeth and stuff. So here we go on Molten Freddy, and it took me about 5 seconds into drawing this that I realized I made it way too big, but whatever. Now, the big problem with Molten Freddy is that we still don't have a full body picture, an official full body picture of him. So it's sort of up to the fans to decide what his full body looks like. So here you see a version with legs, but I think when I do the speed edit, I'm going to do 2 versions, one with legs and one without legs. Because we don't really know. We only see, like, during his salvaging jump scare, you can see sort of the shape of his stomach area, but that's about as far down as it goes. No official artwork has been revealed of Molten Freddy, and that's sort of why I left this speed edit so long. Like I said, Molten Freddy won the original poll I did for who should come after the Rockstar animatronics, but I couldn't do it because so little information was known. We didn't even have jump scare GIFs at that point. I didn't even know there were separate jump scares for a salvaging room and office. But I did try and keep sort of the moving, the like moved parts the same on like the nose and stuff, or not the nose, like the snout. Did kind of a lousy job coloring that top hat, whatever. I think for the eye, I'm just gonna make it like, probably take like one of Mangle's cheeks or whatever, and just color it orange. And that'll be the eye. Yeah, there you go. You see, I do some of the sporadic wires for sort of the head. Because I want to try and do a contrast between Molten Freddy and Ennard. Because like Ennard, he's like, no, I think I'll go over that in specifics. Never mind. The big reason I'm commentating this bit is because the camera quality is so bad, you can't really tell what's going on. But like, I don't know if you just saw there, but I added in the wires that sort of hold the mouth to the head. Yeah, so there I go making the bow tie. I think that's just going to be Spring Bonnie's bow tie. Colored like dark red or whatever. So yeah, as you can see, now I start adding in sort of, you know, more random patterns in the wires. I still tried to mimic what the arms actually look like, but whatever. But as you may notice, I only do about 5 or so wires per arm, as opposed to Ennard, who has a lot more. And even in their actual versions, Ennard had a lot more wires than Molten Freddy, and that's because Molten Freddy is the remains of Ennard trying to shape itself up. And that's why I sort of regretted doing legs, since it really makes sense for it to have legs. It doesn't make sense for it to have arms either, but we do know it has arms. We don't know it has hands, though, so I just went with regular endoskeleton hands. The waist was also a bit hard to do, but I ended up making it look kind of like Ennard's, but a lot looser. And that's sort of what I was going with. Make it look like Ennard, but looser. Of course, that doesn't... The legs now don't exactly fit with the waists, but when I do the speed edit, I'll fix that. Don't worry, I recognized it. Still don't really give it, like, knee joints, because they don't have knee joints. They don't really have elbow... No, well, no. Ennard does have elbow joints, never mind. I don't think Molten Freddy does, but I'm not trying to make my life impossible, so... It took a while to figure out what feet I should do, and in the end I just decided to go with Ennard's feet. No real alternative, really. I've seen some unique feet designs, and they're probably unique because it was revealed that Scrap Baby actually has a lot unique to her. Like, she has, like, roller skates or whatever. So, some people sort of thought, like, well, maybe this is, like, maybe this is a different Funtime Freddy suit, so it would have different feet. I don't know. Like I said, it probably doesn't have feet. Also, the eye that was originally by Ennard's head, I moved just down. Just cause. We know it's not near the head, so... Where else did it end up? The others I kept in their normal positions. Yeah, that about wraps it up, so let's go on to the specifics, shall we? Okay, so the reason for the rather poor quality in the camera... Okay, no, I need to break this down individually. Okay, poor quality is attributed to a bad camera. The awkward angle is attributed to an awkward setup of tripods. And I have an image of what had to be done to get these tripods to work on my Twitter, but in case you don't want to go there, it's pretty much 2 tripods duct taped to each other, with the camera duct taped to the top tripod so that it doesn't move, and it still ended up moving. And like I said, the camera quality itself is just kind of bad, so I'm going to be showing you the sharper scanned-in image throughout all of these specifics, and also zoom in on some parts. So yeah. So here we have, on the left is an arm of Ennard and a leg of Ennard, and then on the right is an arm of Molten Freddy and a leg of Molten Freddy. Now you'll notice that Ennard has, between the wires that sort of make up his arms, this spiral pattern, whereas Molten Freddy doesn't. He has sort of the loose wires. Now you may be saying, why do it for Molten Freddy if you're not going to do it for Ennard if their arms are, like, the same? Well, the thing is, their arms aren't the same. As I mentioned, Molten Freddy is a lot looser looking than Ennard due to being the remains of Ennard trying to reshape. Not Ennard, who's more the endoskeletons, the functioning endoskeletons of the Sister Location crew, but ruined. So, the thing I noticed is that in Molten Freddy there's a lot of gaps. A lot of gaps that you can see through. Ennard, there aren't. You can see through it, but it's sort of black. That means there's something on the other end. So that to me sort of screams that Ennard is very thick. His arms are thicker, and therefore they won't have the loose gaps that Molten Freddy does. Now, I could still make it sporadic, but like I said, it's an adventure animatronic. I don't want to get rid of a detail if I don't or I don't want to use a detail if I don't have to. And you'll notice that I still did give Ennard some sort of variance in it. Like, on the arm, you can see how some of the wires tend to overlap. Also, to be honest, it'll make it easier on me when I have to make it. But yeah, that's pretty much the reason I want to do that thing for the arms. I really want to make it look like an adventure animatronic. I don't want it to be a shrunken down Ennard. That's what I don't want. Anyways. Okay, so what would Molten Freddy look like if he didn't have legs? So the best way to imagine it is pretty much, imagine it as kind of like a beehive shape almost, made out of Ennard wires. There was a really cool piece of fan art that I saw. I haven't been able to find it again. Also, I wouldn't be able to show it in this video since I didn't make it. But I think it captured it pretty well, so if you like look around enough, it'd be there. And it makes a lot more sense when you think about it, because, like, I don't know. I mean, I guess if Ennard has hands, I guess you could have legs, but it's still, like, it wouldn't really change how he works in the game. Like, he could still crawl through vents, he could still sit up when being salvaged, so it'd work. Also, I think it looks a lot cooler, and it works better with this sort of thin waist. So pretty much, like, imagine, like, where I have that question mark, it sort of widens out. That's also where I'd place the eyes. If, I'd place, like, maybe one on the torso, but I'd place the other three in sort of that heap. Because I didn't have the heap, I decided to just place the eyes where they are on Ennard. So I'm gonna do one like the drawing, one Molten Freddy like the drawing, and one Molten Freddy like what I'm describing now. And, I have, plans. I'll talk more about this in another video, but I do have plans to use these speed edits I'm doing later, and I think the one I'm gonna stick with is the Molten Freddy without any legs. Other than that, I think that's the only thing that's gonna change between the Molten Freddys, the eyes and the legs. Other than that, Molten Freddy looks pretty good, to be honest. Yeah. That's about it. On to the next specific. So the feet. You can't really tell by how I drew them. I didn't really draw them that good. That's something I should also mention. Because I had to position myself in kind of an awkward way so that my face wasn't covering up the camera, I could draw this a lot better. Just saying. It's not my greatest. Anyways, feet. What it's gonna look like is pretty much, imagine a regular Adventure Endo foot. But it's going to widen out. The base of it's going to widen out. It's going to have an extra toe, kind of like Withered Bonnie's foot. But then it has to have these two hooks on the side, like what Ennard has. Not really sure why they're there, but they are. And I'm not really sure how I'm going to make them. I might just rip them straight from an image of Ennard. But yeah, that's how it's going to look, pretty much. There's no other way to describe it. Anyways, I think that's it for specifics. On to other tripe, yay. Alright, so this is an expanded version of my to-do list. I don't know whether people are just not reading the to-do list or if they're not sticking around to the very end of my videos, but I have a to-do list of all the Five Nights at Freddy's 6 animatronics, and for the most part, the order they'd come in. And the only exception to this was Springtrap, who of course I wanted to get out before 2018 ended, and I didn't have time to plan out Freddy and Ennard. So, this is without all the ones that are already done. As you may have noticed on my to-do list, I always just, if I've done the animatronic, I don't remove them, I just write done. So, Ennard and Molten Freddy is next. Then will be Circus and Scrap Baby. I've gotten a lot of requests for this one. It's coming, but after Ennard and Molten Freddy. Stop asking. Then Ballora and Yendo. Now, in Springtrap, I had a question mark here, but I decided that I am going to do them for completion's sake. Now, that ends the actual Five Nights at Freddy's characters that I haven't done yet. Now we have characters I have done, and I'm going to overhaul them. So first is the Funtime Overhaul. So that's Funtime Freddy, Funtime Foxy Sister Location version, and Funtime Bonnie, who's actually an original character. But I'm going to be redoing them just because I want to. I don't think they came out very good. Also, that was before I actually put music in my videos, which was a fun time because I didn't get complaints about freaking Paper Mario. It's funny because there's a Paper Mario song playing. Anyways, so those are what the overhauls are. Oh yeah, Ignited Overhaul. I look back on my Ignited animatronics video, it's bad. At least they, like, look good, but they don't look accurate. That's the thing. I want to redo them. I've had a lot of people point out mistakes. Some of them are actual mistakes. Some of them aren't, like the whole Ignited Springtrap ordeal. I made the T-Jock Touch-Ups video. That still doesn't help it much. So the only ones I might keep are, like, the Fallen. But I think I am going to completely redo Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, Foxy, Springtrap, Golden Freddy, and Creation. That's what I meant by complete Ignited Overhaul. Anyways, then we get to Ignited Toy Animatronics and Nightmare Toy Animatronics. These were ones I wanted to do right after I did Withered Toys. I said, alright, gotta keep going with the toy animatronics. I like the toy animatronics. So, I should mention, the Ignited Toys is just going to be versions of the Withered Toys. So that's Freddy, Chica, Bonnie, and Mangle. But the Nightmare Toys is also going to include Nightmare Foxy, because I already did Nightmare Mangle. So it's going to have Nightmare Foxy in there. There won't be any Withered or Ignited Balloon Boy or Puppet, and Nightmare Balloon Boy and Puppet are already in the game. So that's my work cut out for me. And then we have variants of Red Bear and Co. Now, what I mean by that is pretty much, you know, the enemies in the Pinwheel Funhouse, Red Bear, White Rabbit, and Tangle. Yeah, I'm going to be giving them Withered and Nightmare versions. And possibly Ignited versions, too. To go along with the other animatronics, really. And this is all going to be for a bigger picture later down the line. Actually, another thing I might do is actually a toy creation. From the toy Ignited toys. That might be something that happens. Who knows? But that's something that's going on later down the line. And I'm not going to say it in this video, because I don't think a lot of people are going to watch this video. I want to say it in a video I know people will flock to. And that's why I am going to be advertising it in the Ennard and Molten Freddy video. So, stay tuned for that announcement. Anyways, yeah. On to another thing. That might be the end of the video, finally. Alright, so this is the sort of ban list of animatronics. These are the ones I will not be doing. Not because I don't want to, but because I can't. So, the ones I will not be doing no matter what are Music Man, Helpy, and Trash in the Gang. Music Man and Trash in the Gang are the harder ones to explain, actually. So we'll go over Helpy first. Helpy's already an adventure animatronic. Does no one else realize this? He's got the eyes, he's got the cute posture, he's got the lack of details. He's like a even more adventure Funtime Freddy. So there's no such thing as an adventure Helpy. Because Helpy's an adventure animatronic. That's saying do like Withered Bonnie. Or I guess technically that'd be Ignited Bonnie, but whatever. Music Man and Trash in the Gang, they're here because there's nothing about them I can make into an adventure animatronic, if that makes any sense. Pretty much, I know the formula of turning a regular animatronic into an adventure animatronic, but because Music Man and Trash in the Gang don't resemble the original cast, there's nothing that dictates how I'd make an adventure Music Man, for example. And someone just said, well, just make the eyes cuter. Well, Music Man has completely black eyes, and only 1 out of the 5 Trash animatronics has animatronic eyes. The others have, like, drawn-on eyes or whatever. So, all I'd really be doing for those is just shrinking the models. And that's lazy. That's not interesting to watch. So there's no reason to do it, pretty much. If you want to see, like, an adventure Music Man, just look at a picture of Music Man and imagine him smaller. That's pretty much it. Now, the ones I'll probably not gonna do, these are ones that are, like, in the realm of possibility, I just don't see myself doing them. This is L-Chip, Mediocre Melodies, and the Five Nights at Candy's or Pop Goes characters. The reason I don't want to do them is because they have head shapes that are irregular, and I'd have to actually make head shapes, and that's not fun. And I don't think it'd look good, but it could happen. So, well, L-Chip doesn't have a head shape. And technically, I guess Ned Bear doesn't have a head shape either. But L-Chip, pretty much, I'd make him through a combination of Chipper and an actual animatronic. But the thing is, Chipper isn't, like, animatronic-like. If that makes any sense. Well, that's another thing. Like, Adventure Chipper is just the Chipper model, and it might have different eyes. So that's sort of a reason I'm not doing Music Man, Helpy, and Trash in the Game. Because it'd be uninteresting to watch, and it'd be over in 5 seconds. Yeah, Chipper's a good example. Coffee is just the coffee model. So, yeah, that's why I'm not going to do them. But, I mean, I might do L-Chip, Mediocre Melodies, Five Nights at Candy's, Pop Goes. Like, I like Five Nights at Candy's and Pop Goes, but they'd just be really difficult to do, because they have custom head shapes. For the future project that I've been referencing, I don't think any of these guys are going to be in there. Even if I do, like, create them eventually, they might be, like, side characters or whatever. But yeah, I think that's about it. So, stop asking for Music Man, or Helpy, or Trash in the Gang, or Mediocre Melodies. Or any of them, actually. Now you know the order I'm going to do them. And that's it, so... Oh, and, any other fan games, like... What's that one? Five Nights at Freddy's Evolution? Is that the one with the funtalized animatronics? Something like that. Final Nights 4 is coming out. Final Nights 4 I'll probably do things for. I just don't know if they're going to make it into the eventual project. Things like, Those Nights at Rachel's. The new one that everyone's playing is the Fredbear one. I forget his name. There's another Fredbear one with actually, like, interesting animatronics. Someone asked me about that. Probably not going to do it. And I'm not going to do anything that isn't related to Five Nights at Freddy's. Don't ask for Adventure Sonic the Hedgehog, for example. I like Sonic Mania music. That doesn't mean I'm putting Sonic in Five Nights at Freddy's. Well, actually, now that I think about it, there is a Five Nights at Sonic's, but whatever. Let's not dip into fandom corruption. Actually, Five Nights at Sonic's isn't that bad. Whatever. This might be the end of the video. Goodbye.